If you have never taken your vehicle off-road, or even if you are a veteran off-roader, there are still several tricks and several rules of the trails that everyone needs to know. So today we are going to discuss the top 5 things that you should absolutely keep in mind before you head out onto the trail. Once again, my name is Josh. This is Jeeping for Beginners. Let's get started. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Once again, my name is Josh, and thank you so much for tuning in. Like I mentioned at the onset, we are going to talk about some tricks and some rules of the trail. Now, it doesn't matter if you are a 20-year veteran and you've been doing this all your life, or you're brand new and you've never got on onto the trails. This is some helpful information, okay? So stick around and let's get started with number 5. Now, number 5 is going to be trail safety. Now, I could easily dive into a whole series of videos when it comes to trail safety, but we're only going to talk about one very important topic, and this is something that a lot of us know, but we don't really share, and that is that whether it's daylight or not, gloomy or not, whatever the weather conditions may be, you should always, always, always have a set of lights turned on the front of your Jeep. Now, it doesn't matter if it's your headlights, it doesn't matter if it's your fog lights, your off-road lights, your roof lights, doesn't matter. The reason you should have a set of lights turned on is not for you. Obviously, it's a beautiful day, right? We got the sun shining, we can see just fine. It is for the other people that are on the trail. 9 times out of 10, when you are traveling, especially a well-traveled trail, you are going to bump into traffic and people coming the other way. So by having your lights on, which will move and bounce with your vehicle, the other drivers can determine or know that you are coming at them and you're physically moving, and it helps them make a decision as to what they want to do. If you notice and you take a look, watch YouTube videos or whatever the case may be, or head out onto the trails, you'll notice that a lot of us run with our lights on. I personally like to use my fog lights. They are very low impact, but they get the job done. So number 5 is always, always, always have a set of lights turned on the front of your Jeep. All right, now let's talk about number 4. Now, number 4, I think, might create a bit of a debate, which that's okay. Put it down in the comments below. We can definitely hash this out. But this is my personal opinion, and after 20 years of doing this, I have found that this is important. So number 4, if your off-road vehicle is equipped with a low-range gear, use it. I truly believe that 4 low is your best friend when it comes to trails. Now, I've heard a lot of guys say the argument, hey, you know, you're more likely to break something in 4 low, or you can't go that fast in 4 low, or whatever the case may be. And you know what? Maybe that's true. However, 4 low gives you the most control, puts the power to the wheels where it belongs, and because you can't go that fast, it will actually help you to maintain your speed to either the speed of the group or the speed that's recommended on the trail. Now, if you are a Jeep Wrangler driver, just like I am, you'll know that from 2007 on, these things didn't have a whole lot of power, okay? Yes, we miss the old 4.0 straight 6. So these little V6s, they just don't have a whole lot of power. So if you keep it in 4 high, there are a lot of times that you might find that it's going to struggle a little bit because you're trying to do something at a slow speed and you're not hitting the power band of the motor. In the 3.8 liter and in the 3.6 liter, the power band is well up over 3,500 RPMs. Now, in the 4.0, that wasn't the case. You can have the torque right off the bat. So maybe this applies more to the newer vehicles. However, by using 4 low, you are keeping the power to the wheels, you are controlling your speed, and you know what? For downhill descents, for little pockets of ruts, for climbing over a rock, it is so much easier to let the vehicle do the work for you. So number 4, my personal opinion is trust the drive line. Use 4-low. It is your best friend. All right, guys, so number 3 is kind of more of a trick when it comes to off-roading, okay? And this is something maybe geared more towards the newbies than the veterans, but I've seen some veterans that need to keep this in mind, all right? And that is, when you come across an obstacle on the trail, do not try to straddle it with your Jeep. This is the best way to break something in your steering or in your drive line, especially if it's bigger than the ground clearance that you have on your vehicle. You should always, if at all possible, try to put your tires over the obstacle. Climb over it. Yes, it might feel a little scary, maybe a little daunting, because the Jeep's gonna rock a little bit, but you know what? It is safer to do that, especially when it comes to your components. When you try to straddle something, you run the risk of hitting your differential. You run the risk of hitting your tie rod. You run the risk of scraping your drive shaft. You run the risk of possibly breaking something. By trying to climb over it, if at all possible, you make it so that the Jeep is still capable of continuing down the trail, and honestly, it adds to a lot more fun. Not to mention the fact that climbing over an obstacle makes for really good photo ops. Now, if the obstacle is too big to climb over and too big to straddle, then obviously try to see if you can go around it. If there isn't a way around it, then that might be the end, or as far as you can travel down that particular trail. So, climb over, don't straddle. Number 3. All right, so number 2, guys, we are going to talk about trail etiquette. All right, now this topic here is something that I think everybody needs to take to heart. And just like other topics, we could easily make a series of videos when it comes to trail etiquette. But here are the highlights of what you should know. 1, who has the right of way? Now, in the instance of coming across people on the trail, hikers, people on mountain bikes, or people on horseback, or whatever the case may be, they always have the right of way. Always. Why? Because they're more nimble, they're smaller, or especially if they're on a horse, it can be scared a lot easier. As far as right of way goes, when you come across other motorized vehicles on the trail, the rule of thumb is the larger group has the right of way. So if you are in a group and you've got about 7, 8, 10 Jeeps, and you come across somebody who is by themselves or only has 2 Jeeps, you technically have the right of way. Why? Because they can pull off easier than your group can to allow you to pass. Now, there's some exceptions to this rule. For example, going uphill versus downhill. All right, uphill always has the right of way. They're the ones that have to put a little bit more effort into what they're doing. They don't want to slide backwards, and the people going downhill, you're already using your brakes. Okay, so pull over. Let them climb the hill, let them climb the obstacle, let them get up, and then you can continue about your way. Now, the other things about trail etiquette that we are going to talk about is going to be about letting the other people know how many are in your group. So let's say there are 4 Jeeps in your group and you are number 2 behind the leader. Okay, then that means that not including you, there are 2 more Jeeps that are behind you. So if you are the ones that are given the right of way and you are passing and the other Jeeps are sitting there, let the leader know. There are 2 more behind me, or there's 1 more behind me, or there's 5 more behind me, whatever the case may be, so that they know how many to look for, especially around blind corners, hills, or so on and so forth, so they don't just take off and then suddenly there's 1 more vehicle coming at them and it creates an unsafe situation. Another aspect about trail etiquette is stay on the marked trails. Now, a lot of times these trail systems are there specifically for us to be able to enjoy them, and that's great. But if you start bushwhacking outside that trail, or making your own trails, or cutting across because you don't want to do a specific obstacle, or so on and so forth, you run the risk of the trails getting closed down, and you don't want to do that. If they are marked or designated for any reason, stay on the designated trails or the marked trails. Another aspect of trail etiquette is if you need to stop for any reason, do not stop and park your vehicle in the middle of a trail. okay? Whether it's broken or you just got to get out and pee or whatever the case may be, do not stop in the middle of the trail. That 5 minutes that you're stopped there could be the 5 minutes it takes for another group to come up, and now you're blocking their traffic. A lot of the trails that we travel on are usually only wide enough for about one, maybe 1.5 vehicles to get through. So you want to make sure that there is enough room at all times for people to be able to pass you if you're the one that has chosen to stop. And then finally, folks, under trail etiquette, there's one more thing that I want to talk about. This is a personal pet peeve of mine, okay? And probably a pet peeve of a lot of veteran off-roaders and those of us who enjoy this beautiful scenery and the nature that's out here around us. And that is, whatever you bring out onto the trail with you, bring it back off the trail. Do not leave your trash behind, okay? Pack in, pack out. This is something that on any forum, on any Facebook group, on a lot of these videos, you'll hear the same thing. Pack in, pack out, okay? Leaving your trash on the trail is a surefire way for us to lose the privilege of being able to use our vehicles off-road. Pack in, pack out. This is a personal pet peeve. I am so tired of heading down these trails that have beautiful mountainscapes or beautiful scenery or whatnot, or come just like this one and crest up over and see the beautiful city of Henderson, and you're surrounded by absolute garbage that's everywhere. Bottles, cans, paper towels, trash bags. It's horrible. Please take your trash with you. This is a huge thing. Pack in, pack out. I can't stress that enough. Pack in, pack out. If there's nothing you get from this video, that is probably the most important tip for first-time off-roaders. All right, so the number one thing that I can say to anybody traveling off-road, and again, it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for 20 years or you're brand new, speed kills. There is absolutely no reason to be doing 50, 60, 80 miles an hour down a trail. First of all, you're not enjoying the scenery that's around you. Second of all, if you come upon an obstacle in that trail, a blind corner, a loose section of gravel, or whatever the case may be, we could be talking about detrimental damage to the vehicle, possible injury, even death. There is no reason to go that fast. Now, this tip may not necessarily be something that rock crawlers or those of us who are out overlanding or trying to enjoy the scenery may need to really keep in mind. But you know what? For you guys on the side-by-sides, on the ATVs, on the dirt bikes, there is absolutely no reason to be doing those kind of speeds. None whatsoever. So the number one thing that I could honestly say is slow down. Enjoy what you're doing, okay? If you want to travel that fast, go to a racetrack, go to a course. They have rally courses set up for that. But when it comes to enjoying the nature, take your time, take it in. There is no reason to go that fast. Not to mention the fact that, like I said, if you do come upon an obstacle or you come upon something that requires you to maybe think a little bit about what you're doing, if you're doing those kind of speeds, you could cause some serious damage to your vehicle. So, speed kills, guys. Slow down. Oh, I almost forgot. I'm going to give you one more bonus tip, guys. And honestly, this is probably just for the guys. Here's what 20 years has taught me. All right. And this will make you a hero when it comes to the girls that are also out on the trails. No matter what the situation, you should always, always, always carry hair ties in your Jeep. Trust me, guys, it's like magic. It works every time, because no matter how prepared everybody thinks they are, girls always need another hair tie, especially when the wind is blowing, windows are down, or you're traveling off-road. So here's a little bonus tip for you guys. Put some hair ties in your Jeep. Trust me, it makes all the difference in the world. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I'm going to start some debates with this video, so go ahead, put it down in the comments down below and let's hash things out, all right? In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. We sincerely appreciate all the support for the efforts that my wife, myself, my daughter, my son, everybody has put forth in order to bring this information to you. So hit that little bell icon as well, guys, because that's the one that's going to tell you when the new content comes out. So in the meantime, hope to see you on the trails. Happy Jeeping, and we will see you next time. So guys, just as a quick side note, when it comes to pack in and pack out, this is exactly what I'm talking about here. As you can see, there are tires, trash, all kinds of stuff just dumped. In fact, if you look right up here behind me, there used to be a fence that ran from here all the way down to here. And somebody even cut that fence just so that they can throw that trash, and that trash away. This is horrible. Pack in, pack out. Don't abuse the privilege, or you're going to lose the privilege.